something. Hello and good morning from Enugu, Nigeria. Good morning from Braudy Global Limited. Today we are right here to discuss something very important to you as someone looking to invest in the city of Enugu, or someone who is thinking of owning a piece of land or piece of real estate in the city of Enugu. So this live session is going to explain or expose so many things to you so that when you want to invest in Enugu, you are aware of things you need to, to do or to know when it comes to buying of land right here in Enugu. Hello and welcome back to our channel. And my name is Jacinta.
And my name is Opaleke Emmanuel.
We are reporting live from Enugu, Braudy Global Enugu branch. We are a thriving and fast developing, fast growing real estate company based here in Nigeria, with offices right here in Enugu and Abuja, right? So today we are going to be talking about things you need to know before buying land here in Enugu. We've been here for the past 5 years, right? We've helped a lot of clients who doesn't even know what to do when it comes to buying land. We've helped them to own lands and even build on their plots of land. And we thought to make this video so that we thought to come live here and share with you things you need to know when buying land here in Enugu. Seriously, buying land here in Enugu, especially from abroad, right, can be one of the most rewarding decisions you can make for your future. But it can also be one of the riskiest, right? I mean, every investment comes with its own risk. Yeah. However, there's how the risk can be managed, right? Because thousands of well-meaning Nigerians, especially those from Southeast, has invested in Enugu, and most of them, in fact, I would say 80% of them, have lost millions due to silence and as well due to ignorance, right? So with our experience, we've come up with this guide to help you not to fall into any trap, right? This short guide will expose the 7 things you must know before buying any land right here in Enugu. So either you're a first-time person that is thinking of buying land for the first time, or you have been buying, but you feel that you are not buying the right way, this live session is for you. And that is why we recommend that you share this live session to as many people as possible, especially maybe with your friends who are looking to invest in Enugu, but they don't know how to go about it. They don't know the things, to ask for and all of that. You need to share this live section with them. And just like we normally do, once you jump on live here, type #live and where you are joining us from. We want to hear from you, right? We want to know where you're joining from. And as we go through this live session, if you have any questions concerning buying land here in Enugu, you can as well drop it at the comment section, right? Like we said, we are going to be exposing 7 things you must know before buying land here in Enugu, right? So we'll be diving right in. So Emmanuel.
All right. So the number one on our list is what we term as know the cost of land in Enugu, what your budget can actually buy. Now, this part is very, very important. So because most of real estate scam, about 80% of land scam in Nigeria, especially here in Enugu, happen because people want to buy into a developed area with just little money. So we had cases of prospects reaching out to us and telling us, okay, I'm looking for a land where I can buy now and then start building immediately. And when we ask them, okay, what's your budget? We have cases where people now say, oh, I have 2 million naira looking for a buy and build here in the city of Enugu. And you know that's not possible, because that kind of budget will not be able to get you a land where you can buy and start building immediately. I mean, there's massive development happening in Enugu. And if you're looking for buy and build, you should be thinking something that is way more than that. Something like 2 million naira can get you a property that is for long-term investments, not for buy and build. So when you want to buy a property where you can start building, there are many locations in Enugu. So you should be thinking between 15 million naira to 75 million or even more than that, depending on the particular location. I mean, once you have this budget in mind where you want to buy and build, it will help you not to fall into the hands of land fraudsters or maybe scammers. I mean, there are many people who are just looking for victims to scam and then maybe defraud them of their hard-earned money. So you need to have a particular budget and need to know the particular amount that you need to buy a particular property, whether it's for buy and build or maybe where you want to do your land investments. All right.
Yes, you have already stated it. Know the cost of land in Enugu. That is the first thing. When you know the cost, you are aware of what is obtainable and prepare yourself, right? So that you will not get fallen or get into the hands, you will not get scammed. Because most of the people that have been scammed, right? When I asked them, there's one that was reaching out to me. Oh, he bought a property, and then now the agent is not picking his call. Everybody has blocked him and all of that. I was asking, where did you buy? He told me the location, and that location is selling nothing less than 50 million naira. And he told me that he bought it for 3.5. I said, you see it, because most of us, we are selfish, right? Human beings naturally are selfish. So everybody wants to use small money to get big things. Anytime you come up with that strategy in real estate, especially here in Enugu, you lose both your small money and the property. Right? Even the Bible said it. Those that have more, more will be given to them. But those that have little, even the little will be taken away from them. So be wise when it comes to buying properties in Enugu. Be wise. Know that Enugu has gone beyond bushes and brown roof. Enugu has gone beyond that. So some people still see Enugu 20 years ago. That is why you'll be looking for a buy and build place for 2 million naira. So it's very important understand the cost of land in Enugu. So the second thing you need to know as someone who wants to invest in Enugu, whether as a beginner or someone who is already an investor, is you need to know the difference between an investment land and a residential land. Now, investment lands are lands that are made for long-term investment purposes. Maybe you are buying that land for the sake of reselling it later in the future, or for land banking, or for holding it in the future. You build on the land, or you're holding it when the place develops, you may now resell, or do whatever you want on the land. You need to understand there's investment land. There's such lands are usually in developing areas. Roads there may not yet be perfect. Houses may not be there yet. So you should understand that. But after some years, for such kind of land, the value increases because the place will start developing. Then the residential land is where people are already living and building houses. So that is what I was trying to say, that the cost of getting an investment land is way cheaper than the cost of getting a residential land. So when you want to buy a land, you should know, which one am I getting? Am I going for investment land or am I going for a residential land? Know what you want. Don't deceive yourself. A lot of people like to deceive themselves, and at the end of the day, they don't own any property at all. So let's take, for instance, you know that in your deepest heart of hearts, you have 2 million naira, or you have 3 million naira, and you want to start building. And you know that you may not even have the money to even start building immediately.
Mm.
So instead of waiting, oh, instead of waiting to buy a residential land that costs way above 3 million naira, maybe 50 million naira, 20 million naira, you will now say, oh, because the investment land is still far from town, you will not like to buy the land, and then you now hold on to your money, and you know what happens? The money disappears.
Yeah.
Because there's this saying that goes that if you don't use your money for the right problem, the wrong problems will always come and take it.
Mm.
Right? So if you want to buy a land, know what you can afford at that time and go for it. One thing you should know about Enugu land is that it appreciates every year, right? The land that may be selling for 800,000 naira last year, as at today, this is March, the price will not be the same. It must have gone up to 1.5 million naira, and next year it will increase to another amount. So lands in Enugu appreciate every single year. So when you want to buy land, know what you can afford. If you want to go for investment, just go for investment land, and know in mind that it is going to appreciate what over time.
Yeah.
Then if you now want to go for residential land, where you know that you want to start building immediately, right? You can now go for residential land. And sometimes you can even buy residential land also for investment purpose.
Yeah.
So if you have the money, you can go into residential places where people are already building. You can buy land there and resell next year for a higher price, because where houses are or residential land, there are usually demands for them. So you can actually buy and resell later for them. So the second thing that you need to know is know the difference between an investment land and residential land. Once it's clear, you will know the one you'll be going for when you want to buy land in Enugu.
Wow, that was very extensive, very detailed. All right, so the number 3 is know the land size is obtainable in Enugu.
Yeah.
So this part is very, very important. Anytime you want to buy in Enugu, it's very important that you know the particular land size that is obtainable here in Enugu. So for instance, what is obtainable in Lagos or Abuja may not be obtainable in Enugu. For places like Abuja, you hear of 150 square meter, 300 square meter,
250 square meter,
250 square meter, 500, all through to 1,000 and above. But here in Enugu, the particular measurement or land size that is obtainable here is between 450 to 500 square meter. And I know you are listening to this, you're asking, what is even a land size? I mean, I'm coming across this term for the first time. So let me just help you. Land size simply means a defined area of land. So here in Enugu, like I mentioned earlier, 450 to 500 square meter is what is obtainable. So whenever you want to buy land in Enugu, you should be thinking anything between 450 and 500 square meter. Also, the other land size is where we have like acres. So when you hear acres, acres simply means 6 plots of land. So it simply means a plot can be 450 or maybe 500 square meters. So 6 of that plot is an acre. And then you must have heard about hectares. Hectare simply means 2.5 acres. So that means 6 plots times 2 plus half of those 6 plots. That should be around 15 plots of land. That's what we give you an acre. And hectare, please. So as an investor, whether you're a first-time buyer, Nigerian diaspora, an experienced investor, you've been buying properties in different locations like Abuja, Lagos, Ibadan, even Abia State, and now you want to invest in Enugu, it's very important that you understand the particular land size, because you might be thinking that what is obtainable in Abia State is also obtainable here in Enugu. The only plot of land that is obtainable here in Enugu is between 450 to 500 square meters. And so that will help you to understand. But whenever you buy a land, another thing you need to look out for is the survey plan. You want to check the particular size of land. And then when you check that particular size of land, it will help you to know the particular size that you are buying. And that will help you to make the right investment. So whenever you want to buy land in Enugu, know what is obtainable in Enugu, not in Abuja. All right, so we move to the next one.
Yes, the next thing you need to know as a beginner or someone who wants to buy property in Enugu is the land documents or property documents used here in Enugu. Right? Because just like you mentioned, Land sizes varies, same with land documents. Land document that is obtainable in Enugu may not be obtainable in Abuja or in any other part of the country. So here are common land documents that are being used right here in Enugu that you need to know. The first one is a C of O. A C of O is a short for certificate of occupancy, just like the name implies, certificate. It is being issued by the government or the state government, state or federal government, to a landowner to prove that the person legally has the rights to use and occupy that land. Now, the second document you've been seeing or you need to know of is a deed of assignment. This deed of assignment is a legal document that transfers rights and ownership of a property from one person to another. Most times it's usually issued when a property already has a C of O. The next document that you may be coming across is a deed of lease or deed of sublease. Deed of lease is still like a deed of assignment. It transfers ownership for a period from one person to another. But this time around, it has a certain period. However, when it comes to Enugu, most times the number of years is not usually attached to that deed of lease. It's just as plain as deed of assignment. It's just the terms that just changed, right? Deed of lease and deed of sublease. The next document to be coming across is a power of attorney, which most times is termed as irrevocable power of attorney. Now, power of attorney on its own means that when somebody gives someone a power to act on a particular property on his behalf. However, it becomes irrevocable when those powers that was given to that person can never and will never be revoked. And such document here in Enugu is used right here for property transactions. And it is also registrable right here in the Ministry of Lands in Enugu. So that is another document you may be coming across. The next one is a survey plan. A survey plan is just like a map showing the area and the size of a land, right? So that is just the work of a survey plan. So when you are buying a property in Enugu, you may be coming across any of these documents, right? Especially if you are buying from an individual, an estate company, except most of if you are buying from government, you just be given an allocation letter and other kind of documents. But mostly, whether you're buying a land or a house right in Enugu, you may get any of these documents. So you need to know them so that you will know the right documents to get when you are buying land here in Enugu. So also let us know in the comment section if you can still see us clearly and you can still hear us. If you can still hear us, type 1 in the comment section. And if you can still see us clearly, type 2 in the comment section. And if you are following so far, drop the fire emoji in the comment section. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to drop it at the comment section and we'll attend to them while we continue on this video.
All right. So the fifth on our list is what we termed as know the extra fees obtainable in Enugu. This part is very, very important. Most time when people want to buy land, so people selling land to them, whether the company or an individual, most time they end up telling them the price of the land. And they don't get to tell them other fees that they need to pay. So it's very, very important as an investor for you to know these extra fees whenever you want to buy land, especially here in the city of Enugu. That can help you to plan properly. So you have an extra budget outside the one for the land. You have extra budget for these fees. So the number one we have on our list is what we call survey fees. So while she was talking about the kind of document that are obtainable here in Enugu, she mentioned survey plan. So there's a fee for that survey plan. You don't just maybe buy a land, they don't just give you a survey plan and say, oh, thank you, and then you take it. There's a fee for it. And usually here in Enugu, the fee starts from 300,000, anything above. So you need to pay for survey plan before you are being given a survey plan. And basically what a survey plan does is that it shows you the exact location, the size and the boundary of your own plot or maybe your land. And the good thing that you need to have a survey plan, the main reason rather why you need to have a survey plan is that it will help you to avoid any encroachment, because survey plan will also create a boundary so that you not enter another person's property. So the next one is what we call documentation fee. It's very, very important. So she mentioned some of the title documents used here in English. She mentioned deed of assignment. She mentioned deed of sublease. So there's a fee for all these documents. You don't just get it for free. You need to pay for it. And once you pay for these documents, that's when you will now be given to by the company or the individual that you are buying the property from. So know that there's a fee for the documents that you'll be getting when buying a land. Then the next is what we call development levy. Development levy, just like the name sounds, it's covered for the development. So this part is what you pay before you start building on your land. Take, for instance, you bought a property from a real estate company. So after, you must have paid for the land, pay for the documents, pay for the survey plan. So when you now want to start building on your plots, maybe if it's an estate, before you start building, there's a fee that you need to pay to the company. That's what we call development levy. So this fee basically covers the infrastructural development that will be happening in that estate, like the drainage system, the gatehouse, the perimeter fencing, the electric light, whatever it is that has to do with development or infrastructure in that estate. This fee covers it. So you need to pay it before you start building on your own land. Then the next one is what we call legal fee. So this legal fee is paid to the lawyer that prepares the documents. So if you are buying an individual land, whether you need a lawyer for consultation to help you carry out the due diligence to know if this property is genuine, to avoid any litigation. So the fee that you pay to that lawyer is what we call legal fee. So that's the fee you pay to the lawyer to help you do whatever necessary due diligence, research, or whatever on that property. So you need to pay this fee so that you not buy a fake land. So that's what we call legal fee. And last on the list is what we call agency fee. Agency fee. So when you want to buy land, there's an individual, a person that's serving like a bridge between the person who is selling the land to you and then you that is buying. So that person is called an agent. We normally use the term real estate agent. So, but in short, it's called an agent. So there's a fee that you pay to this person. That fee is called agency fee. And normally here in Nigeria, especially in the city of Enugu, the percentage is between 5 to 10%, although you can still negotiate this with your agent, person who is helping you to secure this property. So you need to pay this fee to the person before you buy that property. So having an understanding of these extra fees, like I mentioned earlier, will help you to know other fees that you need to pay outside the land that you are buying, and that will help you not to go beyond your budget. You'll be able to buy the property and every other thing within your budget. So that's it for number 5. So I don't know if you have anything to add to it.
No, you've literally explained it, because it's important for you to know,
yeah,
as someone who wants to buy property. So most people, they don't used to know about all this. And when the time to do for the payment of, when they are mentioned that, oh, you need to pay for your documents and all of that, and there will be a spark. Why am I paying for this? So I usually liken all these payments to when you buy a car. When you buy a car, apart from paying for the car, you need to clear the car, you need to pay for the papers and all of that. So same thing with property. And why all these payments? Land is more spiritual than what we see it as. And that is why, when if you go to the communities, before you bid on your plots, they will say bring A1 in real if you are buying from Igbo land. This is because they see land as a spiritual being. So land is a special asset. So it's not something that you can just wake up to do anyhow and then you want to maneuver it. So these fees are important. It also protects you, right? It also protects you. So see it as part of the things you need to do. I'll use one instance. People that inherit land. Before you get that land as your inheritance, there are some things you need to go and pay to clear. They'll say bring wine, bring goat, bring this one. These things, these are payments. And most time, if it's an estate, they gather it at what? Development levy. So development levy covers for both infrastructures, just like you have explained, and then all those community, yes, all those community fees that or traditional rights that need to be performed on that plot. So it's very important. So when you see it, don't feel like, oh, they are trying to
extort money from you.
Yes. So yes, it's very important you know that. So the sixth thing you need to know when you are buying a land here in Enugu, or before buying a land here in Enugu, is you need to understand how land ownership works in Enugu. You need to have clear understanding of how land ownership works. Because if you understand it, you will know the right steps to take when you are going into your land ownership. Now, I will start generally that in Nigeria, land land is controlled under the Land Use Act. The law says that all land in a state belongs to the state government, which the governor controls this land on behalf of the citizens. So individuals or companies are only given the right to use the land. So when you buy a land, you're actually buying the right to occupy and what? Use the land, and not owning the land forever. So that is why, because of this act, that is why there's land registration, there is document registration, and all of that. Because when you buy a land and you're trying to register your document, you're just trying to notify the government that you bought so piece of land, that you need them to be aware. Because according to the Land Use Act, the state governor holds this land in trust, which means that he needs to be aware if there is any transfer of property in that particular state. And that is where the document registration comes to play. And that is where C of O also comes to play, right? Where the government now goes ahead to issue C of O to individuals or estate companies. But before government issues you a C of O, you must have your own personal deed and survey plan. Now, coming down to Enugu, how is land ownership? How does land ownership works right here in Enugu? So in Enugu, what I've seen is that land originally belonged to families or communities. Land originally belonged to families or communities. So what usually happens is that these families or communities that owns this large expanse of land, they call a surveyor who comes and survey the land, gets the document they register the document with the government, and then prepare the layout plan and every document for that particular land. And then they now get to sell the land to individuals or to real estate companies, right? So this is how it usually happens. So now the real estate companies now acquire this land from them and then parcelate it as an estate, as plots in an estate, and then start selling it to individuals. Do you understand it now?
Yes.
So this is originally how land ownership runs in Enugu. Then another way that people own land in Enugu is from the state government. So right in Enugu, governments like Ministry of Land, Ministry of Houses, housing corporations, most of these agencies have lands that they have mapped out for estates, right? They now sell to individuals, so you can as well buy from estates, from governments. So these are ways land ownership are being held right here in Enugu. So mostly in Enugu, what is obtainable is more of estates or layout. So whether you are buying from an estate, you are buying from a real estate company or from individual, you may most likely fall into an estate or into a layout, right? And that's why here in Enugu, most times you may hardly find a virgin land. because most of their lands has been what? Registered, except the ones that are still under the process of registration, right? That is why many lands comes with deed of assignment, survey plan, and all of that, because the people that originally owns this land have done these registration processes on that particular land. So right now, there are different ways you can acquire land in Enugu. Number one is through the state government. Number two is through families or communities, right? Then number three is through individuals. That is people that maybe they inherited land or they bought land from families or communities before now and they now want to resell. Then the last one is buying from a real estate company, which is the one I most times I usually recommend, right? Because the advantages of buying from a real estate company is that first is that they protect the property for you. Now, when you are buying to an estate, you are just owning a piece of that estate, right? Which means that the real estate company that owns that estate is still in charge of that estate. So if there's any encumbrance on any part of that estate any day, you're not coming to fight for it. It's the estate company that is going there to fight for it, right? So the company protects you. Secondly, is that they also help you when it comes to performing all these traditional rites and all of that. Because when they're acquiring that land, they do that. So because the truth is that when you are buying from families or communities, when it comes to paying of all those communal fees or traditional rights, it may be so tiring because it is always like endless, especially when some of them want to extort you. But with real estate company, they can guide that and do that for you, and you just pay them the money and they handle the headaches for you. So they protect you from that. Then number three is that even if there's any case of maybe any encumbrance on the land, highest that can be done is that you have somebody that you can fall back to, right? Or there's issue on the land, you have the real estate company to fall back to, or they can reallocate you to another piece of land if in any case there's encumbrance on the land. So these are just the advantages of buying from a real estate company, right? And most time they take also the headache of preparing the documents for you and doing the due diligence for you. So, but if you're buying from individuals, the individual might just be interested in getting his money. And most times, once they get their money and disappear, if there's any case on that land, you will not see the person again. Do you understand? So that is why the character and antecedents of the person you are buying from is usually very important, even down to real estate company, right? If you want to buy a property and your instinct is telling you don't buy from this person, please don't buy from the person, right? So always ensure that you are dealing with genuine people and you are also buying from the right people. So hope you understand how land is being owned right here in Enugu. So when you want to buy land, you should be asking yourself, is it a communal land? Now, when you are buying a communal land, you need to ensure that all the representative of that community signs on that document, because most time that's what usually bring issues. When maybe a person from that community sells a property to you without the community unanimously agreeing to sell that property, you may just give the person your money, and when you want to build on the land, other people from that community will start disturbing you. So when you're buying from community, ensure you go with your lawyer so that necessary document and necessary people will sign on your documents, right? And that's why I say go with a property lawyer, because most times some lawyers are not property lawyers and they don't know what to do. It's even better to work with an experienced realtor than you are working with a lawyer that is not a property lawyer, right? So ensure you work with a property lawyer who has been dealing with real estate for a while. So that is very important. So when you are buying property from Enugu, you should, with this I've explained to you, you should be able to say, oh, I am buying from a community, or I am buying from government, or I'm buying from individual, or I'm buying from a real estate company. This is very important. So this will take us to our next point, which will be the last point for today.
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about 7 things you must know as a beginner before buying land in Enugu. 7 things you must know before buying. And we mentioned about 6 of them. So we are going to the 7th one right now, which Emmanuel will be explaining to us.
All right, all right. Okay, so we are on the last point on our list, and that is work with real estate professionals for proper guidance. So she had already shared a lot of insights towards this topic actually when she began to talk about real estate professionals. So she mentioned property lawyer, she mentioned an experienced realtor or real estate agent. So these two personalities are very, very important when you want to invest in Enugu, especially if you are a first timer. I mean, you're a beginner, this is your first investment. It's very, very important. So she pointed out a good number of points when it has to do with a property lawyer. I mean, not just a lawyer, because there are many people who are claiming to have real estate experience. They know so much about real estate, but when you start dealing with them, you will now get to know that these people are not knowledgeable about the industry. I mean, for you, you might not really know, but because of our experience dealing with investors, dealing with lawyers, and dealing with other realtors, we now know those of them who are really experienced in the business and those of them who are claiming to know what they do not know. For the reason why we are laying emphasis on property lawyers is because these people are very grounded, not just on the law aspect, but they also know about properties, they know about real estate, they know about the necessary processes to carry out when it has to do with real estate transaction. So she mentioned that, take for instance, you want to buy from a community, you need to go with your lawyer, property lawyer, so that everybody who is involved in such transaction need to pen down his or her signature. Because if you are buying and you don't have every person give consent to that transaction, you might end up coming back again to start pay extra money, or maybe that land will now be revoked because every party was not involved. So a property lawyer is someone who has an experience in the industry, one who understands the real estate transaction, one who understands the law. One of the things that we mentioned earlier when we began to talk about land use acts. So that property lawyer must understand the land use acts, all the clauses in the land use act, and everything that is involved in real estate transactions. So have a property lawyer whenever you want to invest in any real estate market. And this part is very, very important, especially when you are buying an individual land. Most time, real estate companies, like we have our own property lawyer, before we buy any property, before we put any property to the market, we carry out every necessary due diligence. And this is in partnership with our lawyer. So we save you the stress of going your own, trying to carry out all these processes. But when you want to buy an individual property or a community property or a property from a family, please have a property lawyer, one who is very, very experienced in the business. Then the next professional is what we call real estate agent or realtor. So a realtor is one who is very experienced. I mean, two of us, we are real estate consultants. We've been working for over 5 years, I mean, in real estate business. So we know so much about real estate markets with regards to Enugu, especially. We understand how the proper protocol for real estate transaction and some of the things that you need to look out for if you want to invest in Enugu. So you need to work with a realtor, one who is very experienced if you want to buy property, because they will save you from too many stress. They will help you not to buy the wrong property. These people understand the best locations here in Enugu where you can put your money. Take, for instance, you are looking for a property that you buy and then get massive return in the future. So they understand the terrain very well. They know locations, major locations here in Enugu where development is moving towards or where development is happening currently, where you can buy that land. In the next 2, 3, 4 years, you'll be getting massive return on your investment. And they also know how to carry out proper due diligence in Enugu. Not every realtor know about this. So there are people who are still beginning in the business. They don't know so much about proper due diligence. So some of them will claim that they know, but they don't. So you need to emphasis on experienced realtor. When you work with this person, they will guide you so that you make a seamless real estate transaction. And another person also, which is another party that is very, very, very important when it has to do with real estate profession is a surveyor. So this one is very, very important when you are buying an individual property. So if you want to buy property from an individual or from a community, it's also good for you to have your own surveyor. because the surveyor will help you to know if the land you are buying, to know what is on paper is exactly what is on ground. So I remember I was discussing with a client. So he mentioned that he wanted to buy land. So the person was telling him, okay, this is the location and this is when he now involved the surveyor, when they now went to the exact location, when they began to survey the land, they now found out that the coordinates that was on paper is not exactly the same coordinates on ground. Imagine if the person have not gone with a surveyor. That means he or she probably would have bought that property thinking that he bought a genuine property. But in the future, when issues now arise, the person will now notice that, oh, I made a mistake by not buying the right property. So you need to have a surveyor when you are buying from individuals or from a community. But if it's from a real estate company like our company, we've done every processes. In fact, you can still have your own survey in case if you want to carry out your due diligence, but we're giving you an assurance that everything has been carried out properly. So these three persons I mentioned are very, very important. When you want to invest here in the city of Enugu, you want to buy a property without having any issue in the future. So work with real estate professionals.
All right. I think with that, we've been able to go through everything that you need to know as someone who wants to buy land in Enugu, especially for the first time. You know, we literally explained it step by step. So if you need more guidance on how to buy land the right way here in Enugu, we are here to help you. We are Braudy Global, and you can connect us with the number on the comment section. And if you have questions, personal questions, when it comes to buying land here in Enugu, you can as well reach out to us on the numbers below so that we'll guide you properly. So until we come to your face again, thank you so much for watching this live session. And anytime you watch the replay of this live session, please comment #replay so that we know that you watch the replay. All right. So to come to your face again, thank you so much for joining us today. See you in the next one. Bye for now.